Okay, this is part 2 on how to get out of an abusive or toxic situation. So where I just left off was needing to record evidence and documents of what is happening to you. And it's very important to do this even if you don't ever go to legal resources or court or anything. This is so important to record because there will be a moment where you doubt why you left. There will be a moment where you doubt your own memory. Okay, and it's very important to keep that in mind. That will occur at some point because the way that the abuse has worked in your mind, self-doubt is inevitable at some point. And so I think it's very important for you to prepare for that and also create a letter to yourself is what I did. I wrote to myself why I was leaving and why I could not go back. Okay. You can list all the reasons that you're leaving. For me, my number one reason was my kid. I refused to teach my kid that that's what love was, that that's what a father figure was. I refused to teach her any of that. And so she was one of my main motivators. On top of that, I wrote down some of my reasons as the person I wanted to become wasn't capable of being the person I wanted to be if I stayed with that person. There were a lot of dreams and goals and achievements that I would not have been able to achieve while I was under his control, while I was under his abuse. There were so many things that I wrote down about what he did, the behaviors. I wrote down reasons why I deserved better. I wrote down everything that I could think of about why I was leaving, and I kept it. And I reread it every time I wanted to go back because on average, it takes 7 attempts for a victim or survivor of abuse to leave a relationship. What that means is on average 7 times they leave and come back before they successfully get out. Okay. And so leaving and coming back is actually extremely, extremely normal. And the reason for this is when you go through the abuse, your brain gets addicted to the highs and the lows, and you're getting addicted to the stress off of the abusive situation. And I find that a lot of people leaving abuse start to feel like that feeling of withdrawal is them needing the abuser, is them needing that person. A lot of people will use words like they're their soulmate, twin flame, etc., because they feel this pull to the person. But in actuality, with abusive situations, what that is you're addicted to them abusing you. My phone interrupted me, but yeah, so it's so important to list out your reasons and really remind yourself why you're leaving, because that withdrawal is going to hit at some point and you're going to question why you're leaving. And so having that reminder is just so helpful. Also, this is so important, is to build your own finances and money that your abuser has no access to. Okay? Especially if there's any sort of financial abuse or financial control involved in your situation. But either way, if you're going to leave, you need money that your abuser doesn't have access to. And you can do this in so many different ways. One of which is going to be, you can be picking up extra side jobs like door dashing when they're not around, watching neighborhood children or babysitting, animal sitting, house sitting. You could be doing house cleaning. You could be working from home. There's so many little side jobs that you could kind of pick up when they're at work or work around hours that they're not home so that they aren't aware that you're making money. Okay. Another thing you could do is you could be selling and going through and selling belongings in your home. And if it's questioned, you can just say it was donated. Again, please do not feel guilty if you are lying to your abuser to get out. Lying for your safety is not something to be guilty of. Lying for your safety is simply survival. Okay. So strategically planning your escape is obviously going to be something really, really important involved in this. I know multiple people, including the woman who was with my abuser before I was, who actually got everything they could and left in the middle of the night while the abuser was sleeping. Or some would tell abusers hey, I'm just gonna go on vacation, and then they never come back. Or some would pack up everything and leave while the abuser's at work or somewhere else. Okay, so strategically planning your escape to minimize conflict at the moment of leaving or to minimize them preventing you from leaving, that's gonna be key. Okay, and there are some situations where sadly you have to accept some losses. For me and my daughter, we got out with a suitcase each. We lost our entire home of belongings, all of the memorabilia, her baby memorabilia, my baby memorabilia. We lost a lot. We lost family heirlooms that were in the family for generations. Like, we lost all of our furniture, cats, like everything was lost. All we got out with was a suitcase each, but we got out with our lives, and we got out with our well-being, and we got out with our safety. And that is what's most important. Okay. And this last point I'm going to make with a very open-minded, kind of like mindful approach, is that I highly recommend you look into your local situation before deciding to involve any sort of law enforcement or those kind of interventions. I'm not going to say do or don't do it, because it really depends on your local area and it depends on your specific situation. I know plenty of people who have reached out to law enforcement or gotten a restraining order, TRO, no contact order, and they had positive responses and they were actually treated really well and it helped them. And I know people that it has gone a different way. So I just highly suggest that you look into your local area before you determine if that resource is going to be something to help you or not. Just like you would with the other resources, kind of, call, talk to people, ask how it is. Definitely the DV hotline or your local DV, actually your local DV resource centers are probably going to be your best resource for that. Just kind of ask them, like, hey, have other victims had good or negative interactions with the local law enforcement on these topics? Chances are they're going to have a good idea of how local law enforcement tends to respond. And I just think it's important to equip yourself with that knowledge, just so that you are prepared if that's going to be beneficial or if that might be an obstacle in your way. Okay. I am sending so much love to every one of you. And I want you to know that while this is a difficult process and while this feels so big, I want you to remember that you are bigger than you feel right now. Abuse has a way of making you feel so small, so incapable, so stuck. And I want you to know that you are not small. You are not incapable. You are not stuck. You are capable. And you are so strong. And the things that you withstand on a day-to-day basis are proof and evidence of your strength. The things that you go through are evidence of how much you can overcome. And I promise you can overcome this process too. You can do this. You are so much bigger than you feel right now. You are not as small as you think. Okay? I love you so much. You've got this. If you're not ready to go, completely understand. Maybe just save this for later or keep it in the back of your mind. I in no way want to rush anybody into a decision they're not ready for, but should you decide you're ready to even consider it, maybe give some of those resources a call. You don't have to make a final decision right now, but it wouldn't hurt to look into it. It wouldn't hurt to kind of reach out to your resources and see what options you have. Okay. I love you guys. Stay safe.